me. What's that?
I said
Hi.
hi,
It's wild to be here because it's, seeing so many familiar faces that I've seen throughout my life. And I first off want to say that I do have a home group. It's Broad Highway. It's online on Tuesday nights. And I meet with really rad ladies. And a lot of them, we go into jails and we do work on Saturdays at the SCORE down in Des Moines. So we do that work, and it's just my heart work that I'm really passionate about. And my sobriety date has changed since the last time you probably saw me. It's on 2/02/2020, and it is on Groundhog's Day, and that's the day I pulled my head out my ass. So I love that. I get to say that forever, hopefully forever. Where do I start? I want to quickly just tell you my story and then get really into the recovery part, because I think that's the most fascinating part of all of this and why we were here. Is that my parents came to America when I was 3, and when they came, they also brought their dysfunction. And we lived in Oklahoma and lived in Tennessee, and I lived in a very alcoholic, drug addicted home. And I went to school, and they ended up diagnosing me with a learning disability, ADHD, put me in special education, where I was there for 9 years. And it was horrible in the fact that I wasn't getting my education that I wanted, and knowing that I wasn't getting what I needed at home or at school, where else was I going to go but to friends that were drinking and drugging and partying, that this wasn't my lot in life. I didn't want to be in special education. I didn't want to be in the principal's office. So I learned to smoke and drink and do a lot of activities outside of school. I was suspended 6 times my freshman year of school. So that'll tell you what kind of person I fought a lot, and I had a big mouth, but I also was really scared a lot. And in order to calm my nerves was, to hang out with people that I knew that would have drugs and alcohol. And I didn't know what that was doing to me. I just knew that I liked that I fit in, and I felt like I was a part of something. And when I was 12, my mom ended up getting sober and going into Alcoholics Anonymous when I was 12. Also, running and gunning and doing all these things in my teenage years while going to AA meetings. This is when you're smoking, and I got to put out the chairs and take out the chairs and go clean ashtrays and do all these things at AA meetings. And I was happy that my mom was sober, but I just thought it was really weird that she was always gone away. And so I made it kind of miserable for her. So when her girls would call, I would answer the phone and they would say, "Hey, is your mom home? Is Lorraine home?" "Nope, she's not here right now. Bye." Because I really wanted my mom's attention. And I made it really difficult in a lot of ways. And fast forward to coming to Seattle, where we ended up really living and settling down. I went into a new school, and they looked at my transcript and they said, "Look, you either drop out and get a GED, or you come into this arts-based program and let's just test it out." So I went into this arts-based program. There was all nerdy kids. And I was like, this is like another special ed class. I really don't want to be here. And I was in this art class, and it literally saved my life. And it got me off medication. It got me in regular school. And also I wasn't really doing that much drugs or drinking because they kept me really busy. So I was really grateful for finding the arts at the time that I did. And in my 20s, I was in theater. I did all the, touring, and, I had a really great time being out in public, telling my story, not telling my story, but being in plays. And, actors like to drink. We like to party. And I went to a lot of parties, and I did everything I possibly could not to end up where my mom is and where my dad ended up coming, and then my brother, and then his girlfriends. So it was a lot for me to navigate coming in and out, just seeing all these people coming into the home, into our house. And I'm trying to be normal. I want to be the normal person in my family. because I feel like what was given to me was circumstantial and it wasn't my fault. You know, it was like the learning disability is not my fault. The depression is not my fault. All the things, the labels that everybody was putting on me, it just felt like it was burying me. And when I was 29 years old, I was in prison. I wasn't in prison. I was volunteering in prisons, bringing in acting and theater. I need to make that clear. Although I could have ended up there. I went out the night before and I came into the prison and a woman could smell the alcohol from the night before. And she looked at me and she said, "Are you still drunk?" And I was like, no, I'm good. She's like, "Look, we're literally trying to save our lives here. So, you need to make a decision." And I ended up calling my mom and telling her, "Look, I don't want to be that person. I know where this is going to lead me. And I guess I need to go check this out." And I went into the rooms and immediately everyone was like, "Wow, Jodie, hi." Everyone knew who I was. And I didn't feel like I had any anonymity. Like I was so scared to be there that, my parents had this beautiful community that they built through friendships and, through sponsorship. And I really tried to find my place within that. And I ended up living with my parents for a long time through trying to get sober. And, at 5 years of sobriety, I did everything I was supposed to do. I had a home group, I had a sponsor, I was going to meetings, I was going to conferences. I was even willing to go to Montana and do my inventory with a woman I had only met one time. And I was so willing to let this pain go away. And at 5 years, I felt like this thing is keeping me sober, but the pain isn't going away and I don't understand why. I've done a lot of inventories. I've gone to a lot of meetings. I've talked to a lot of people and I've sat and had a lot of mentors talk to me. And at 5 years, I just was really not feeling like this was the place for me. It was really working out for my mom. It was really working out for her sponsees. It was really working out for my dad and my brother. But I just didn't feel like I was a part of this thing. And I ended up letting everyone know I'm leaving AA. And and I did. I ended up leaving and I didn't drink right away because I knew that I wanted to go find what was wrong with me. Something obviously was wrong because I was doing everything I was supposed to here. And that's when I found out about adverse childhood experiences. And I learned about trauma. And I learned about trauma on the brain and the long-term effects of trauma on the brain. And through my 20s, I really suffered with depression, anxiety. I was diagnosed with bipolar, borderline personality disorder, manic depression, anxiety. And at 35 years old, what I realized was I didn't have any of that and that there was nothing wrong with me. Something happened to me. And I'm actually not in the right program for that kind of healing. And that I am sober because of this program, but I have to go somewhere and go deeper with my healing and really figure out what's going on with me and do everything I can to heal my brain that was really damaged through a lot of childhood abuse and a lot of educational trauma as well, through years of being in a room for 9 hours, having children screaming at you. It does something to you. And I had to really live with that. And I had to look at that. And I, had really amazing women that surrounded me and talked to me. And after a while of trying to find the right medicine, being on all these medications that I just knew weren't the solution, because I knew a solution from you guys and I know what that looks like. And just taking medication and just being on my own didn't feel right. It felt really lonely and I was getting sicker. And I ultimately ended up drinking because I was alone. And I know when I was drinking, I drank probably for a year, maybe 9 months. And it wasn't like doom and gloom. It was ciders on Fridays, drinking, watching Netflix with my partner. It really wasn't that exciting. I'm sorry. But what is really profound about that is that I knew when I was drinking, I didn't like this. And I don't like this icky feeling that I have. And I want to get well and I want to do everything. I want to go to any lengths for my recovery. And that's when I called my friend Carrie and I said, look, girl, I don't know about AA anymore. I don't know if that's the place for me, but I'm willing to just go and check out this meeting. And we went to this meeting, and it was her sponsors meeting. It was a birthday, and that's when it was a bunch of old timers just around the table, and they were telling their story, and it just felt like I was home for the first time again. It was like I went too far, went too far from you guys, and just hearing them tell their story, it reminds me that I'm not that unique. That in order for me to heal and for me to heal my brain and the developmental trauma that I have a lot of work ahead of me. And I have to be sober to do that. I cannot do this drinking. I cannot do this medicating myself. I have to do this with support from my friends. And so Carrie and I were just, all right, let's get into the book. Let's start reading. And so we started reading on Zoom. I got sober on February 2nd. Next month, the quarantine hit. So I had the new quarantine experience and I went all over the world. It was the best thing that could have happened for me and to me, honestly. That when I came into the rooms the first time, I was surrounded by people that loved me and loved my family, but they didn't know what happened in me. That, you can't pray trauma away, that I have to actually heal it. And I can't get through this thing through osmosis, through my parents or through my parents' sponsees. I actually have to find my own recovery, and I had to find my own people that could sit with me and talk to me and listen to me. And that I needed it to be really clear that I'm here as Jodie, and that anonymity here really does matter. It really does. And that having that anonymity to be able to go into rooms without other people talking about my family members gave me that room to be able to hear and see myself and not hear and see my parents or my brother or so and so, because I'm not here for them. I love you, but I'm not here for them. I'm here for me because I can't. And before I came in here for my mom. I came in here to get close to my dad. I came in here to get close to my brother. I came in here to get my family back. And I did get my family back. But what I've learned out into the rooms is that you can't heal in the same place that you got sick, and I had to go where I can heal and also come back and have a different perspective of my family and my sobriety and what I'm doing here in these rooms. And it's been such an amazing journey this time around, being able to go all over the world through Zoom and have my home group on Zoom. It's just a different experience. But in the whole time that I have been away, I was able to really understand myself, know myself, come out as a queer person, as a neurodivergent person, because that is a big part of who I am in the world. And I didn't have I don't know if I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to come out. I think I was really intimidated and scared what my community was going to think. But having that time away to be able to, search what is it that I need, that what is wrong with me, that there isn't anything wrong with me. There's something that happened to me and I can heal that, and I don't have to sit in it and I don't have to be alone with it. I can call my friends and they can talk to me through it, which is amazing. And today, my life is so different than what it was 5 years ago. I can't even believe the miracles that are happening in my life today. It's by going deeper in my program, I am seeing such actual proof of what God can do in my life, and that by going deeper, I had to get a bigger God. And what my God is doing in my life is just moving things out of my way in order for me to be there and to step into my life, because before I was avoiding it because I was just in pain and I was avoiding anything that was going to hurt me. And now I get to go down and actually find the root causes, pull it out, root and branch, heal it, and move on with it, and not avoid it, not try to control it, not comply to it, but really face it. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was drinking. And I thank you guys for that. I thank, my family members for showing me how to do that, and how to come back to, and having my friends create a safe place for me to come back, and say there isn't a shame here. The shame that I was carrying for so many years was not even mine, and now I get to come here and I get to show up and participate in my sobriety and my recovery in the way that feels really natural and good to me. And today I get to talk with other people about trauma and trauma in the brain. I am creating a business called the Luminous Minds Project, where I talk to family members that are in recovery, that have children in recovery, and talk to them about trauma and trauma in the brain and what that manifests as. OCD, ADHD, PTSD, complex PTSD. Those things are real. Thank you. And being able to have conversations, and that's also very healing as well. And just knowing that, what we knew in 1935 is so different than what we know now in 2023. That there's new medicine, there's new research, there's so much out there for us to learn about ourselves. And so I'm excited to share it with people that are interested and to help people get their recovery trauma informed. So with that, I want to say thank you so much for listening to me, and thanks for calling me back.
Thank you so much, Jodie. That was really, really great. And I think that, you know, I think that you shared a lot of things that are really important. And I think that, you know,